So now let's talk about the curriculum in the honors program now that you know what a lot of these terms mean. First, I need to tell you that there are two separate curriculum. There's an old curriculum and a new curriculum. Students who entered the program after fall 2010 are all under the new curriculum, unless there's some extenuating circumstances, which I'll tell you a little bit later. But for now, just know that the majority of the students that you're going to see, all of the incoming freshmen, every new student is most likely going to fall under the new curriculum. However, there are a lot of students currently in the program who will be graduating within the next year or so who are still under the old curriculum. So I do need to discuss that program with you, especially because a lot of them will be asking if they have finished all the requirements necessary. So let's talk about the old curriculum first. The old curriculum is actually a little bit more flexible than the new curriculum and takes a little bit less work to complete, which is why the revision was actually made. So there are 7 total requirements within the old curriculum, and I'm going to discuss all of them with you. The first is an honors colloquium, which we discussed in the previous video. The students must take at least one honors 3000 course to fulfill this requirement. The second requirement, they have an option. They can either take an honors colloquium again, or they can take an honors seminar, so either a 3000 or a 2290. The third requirement is called Honors Experience 1, and there's a lot of different options they have for this, but what you need to do to make it make sense in your mind is to tell yourself that they need at least one designated honors course. That's the easiest way to remember this. And so that can be an honors seminar, a 2290 or a 4490. It can be a general education class like Math 1190H, or it can be done through an honors contract where you have an upper level non-honors class turned into an honors class. So anything that can be an honors designated course will count for Honors Experience 1. Honors Experience 2 is simply the applied learning experience. Honors Experience 3, they have some options again. They can either take a second Honors 2290 or 4490 course, which is an honors seminar, or they can do an honors directed study, Honors 4400. That's the course I mentioned in the previous video that we recommend for juniors and seniors to work independently with the professor. Finally, they can choose to do a second applied learning experience if they want to. That's usually not a common option, but it has been done. And finally, the last requirement of the old curriculum is the Honors Senior Capstone Experience. So it's a little bit briefer than the new curriculum. There's less requirements, but it is a little bit more complicated, at least I found, to actually memorize these requirements because it was so flexible. I personally think that the new curriculum is a little bit easier to remember because it's a little bit more structured, but it does have more requirements. This program actually has 11 total requirements compared to the 7 that the old curriculum has. But it is similar in structure. So the first requirement is broken down into 2 different courses, and there's 2 different ways they can do this. The first way is by taking 2 honors colloquium courses, so 2 honors 3000 courses. Another option they could do is to not take any honors courses and take 1 honors seminar, the 2290 or the 4490, and they'd be done with the first requirement. It's really up to them if they want to take the 2 honors colloquium courses or the 1 honors seminar. But let's say you run into a situation like this. You have a student who takes 1 honors colloquium course, so they're halfway done with the first requirement. But then when the schedule comes out, they really are interested in an honors seminar class. What do you tell them to do? The good news is that none of these courses are going to be wasted, because what they can do is choose to use that honors seminar for the first requirement. Use the honors colloquium for the first requirement and drop their honors seminar down into the second category, which is 5 designated honors courses. So they would just end up taking a second honors colloquium to fulfill the first requirement and move the honors seminar that they want to take into the second requirement, which is 5 designated honors courses. And this is the biggest change in the new curriculum. It's where we expect more of our students, instead of just 1 or maybe 2 designated honors courses, are going to be taking 5. and they have total flexibility into how they decide to do this. So they can use general education courses like math and English or science. They can use honors contracts of non-honors courses. They can use an honors directed study, or they can take a seminar. So it's totally up to them how they do it, but we need them to take 5 total courses to fulfill this requirement. The third requirement is just like it is in the old requirement. We require at least 1 honors applied learning experience. The final requirement is the honors senior capstone, and it's the same final product as the old curriculum, but it's broken down a little bit differently. The reason we did this is because a lot of our students under the old curriculum were postponing getting involved and preparing for their capstone until the last minute, and they were becoming really overwhelmed. So our solution was to break the program, the requirement down a little bit to prepare students better. So they're going to start doing these classes actually in their junior year. So it's not as overwhelming to them now that it's broken down into 3 parts. So it's a 44, 97, 98, and 99, and the credit hours are 1 credit, 3 credits, and then 1 credit. And this is the same way as the old curriculum. There actually is no class time. It's all independent learning, independent work. So even though it's a lot of credit hours, there are no physical class times.